Hey, how's it going today, hey? Hope you all had a good Christmas. I know some of you did because it said so in the comments. Leave me a comment, tell me if you had a good Christmas, I care. I had a great Christmas, thanks. Went to Aberystwyth, which is a great place to go. In this video, we are going to do a tarot reading. But first, a little bit more about Glastonbury Tour that I mentioned the other day. That's got a few people interested, and it's a very interesting subject. So, first of all, the Jesus bit, because we don't know much about the Jesus bit. In fact, it's, you know, it's a maybe. It's a definite maybe, but it's a maybe all the same. Thing is, in the Bible, the story of Jesus jumps from when he was about 9 years old to when he was about 30 years old. And nobody really knows much about what happened in between. But we're pretty sure that he worked for his uncle, who was Joseph of Arimathea. And Joseph of Arimathea was a tin merchant who would sail from the Holy Land up to Cornwall to drop tin off in the very southwest of the UK. So chances are Jesus came with him. It's a pretty good chance, you know, that's why I say it's a definite maybe. We don't really know. But we know Joseph of Arimathea definitely came to UK several times. Wouldn't have been called UK then, of course. And it's believed that he travelled up to Glastonbury. More about that in a second. But the bottom line is there's a good chance that whenever I mention Joseph of Arimathea in this video, Jesus was actually with him at the time. Anyway, actually, time is moving on. I've got to nip down the shops for some food. Back in a tick. First time I saw it, I knew it was something really special. I was still at that stage of my spiritual development, as it were, when I just didn't get an awful lot of it, and friends of mine raved about this place, so I went to see it, and so I went from Cardiff, where I lived there in South Wales, across to Bristol, which isn't far, and then we got a bus, went through Bath, and eventually it took us to Glastonbury Village. And you might have heard of Glastonbury Pop Festival. It's been going since the 60s. And that is, you know, a pretty magical place, or it was at one time anyway. But that happens somewhere away from Glastonbury Village. It's called Pilton. Glastonbury Village itself is amazing. There's been something there for at least 5,000 years. Because we know it goes back to either the time of Stonehenge or maybe even before the time of Stonehenge, you know, amazing place. And as soon as I actually saw Glastonbury Tour, because it's in Somerset, and Somerset is very flat. And then there's this massive hill in Glastonbury with the church tower on top, St Michael's Tower, like I mentioned in the last video with the huge cards. And as soon as I saw it, I transformed, and that's what it does, of course. Well, this was very new to me then, and I went from saying, oh, where's this Glastonbury Tour, to saying to all my friends, look, there it is, I can see it over there, isn't that amazing? And it is an amazing sight when you see it, particularly when you think that people built the hill and then built a church on top of it. And the pictures you see online don't do any justice to how absolutely massive it is. It's really big, a huge achievement for a very early British civilization. I don't think it was even called Britain then, actually. And it links to Glastonbury Abbey. There's an abbey there that was built a lot later than the tour, obviously, but it was the abbey that did the work to put the church on top of the tour, of which the tower is still there. So we arrived in Glastonbury on the bus, we walked up to the tour, then we had to climb up it, and it's massive. But you know the feeling when something's exciting, when you really want to do something, when you've really been looking forward to it. You find the energy somehow. And we climbed up it. And I felt this vibration. I didn't know about vibrations and stuff then, but I felt this vibration, as I now see it, coming out of a room above the door in St Michael's Tower. And I was sure there were some friends of mine up there. They were playing music. I felt welcome. So I went into the tower and I looked up, and there were no floors in it. It was open to the sky. So whoever I saw behind the window was a spiritual presence, not a physical presence. And this is the most magical experience I ever had in my whole life, believe me. Even to this day, I don't think it's ever been quite that magical. Other amazing magical things have happened, but Glastonbury Thorn, just as magical as it's ever been for me. So we stayed up there and we talked and smoked things we probably shouldn't have smoked. And then it got dark. And it was a beautiful, clear night. The sky was very clear. We were sitting in St Michael's Tower. There's kind of benches along either side of it. You can sit inside under the arch in there. And I looked up into the clear night sky and I could see pretty much the whole universe, it felt like. Lots of planets though. The planets were glowing very bright, different colours in a way I wasn't used to seeing. And they were all joined together by lines that looked like laser beams. And they were joined together into this pattern. I didn't know what the pattern was, but it was beautiful. I couldn't take my eyes off it. All my friends were laughing because they'd seen it before. And they knew it was going to, you know, do something to blow my mind, and it really did. And years later, actually, I was reading a book about angels, and in that book, there's like a picture of the Tree of Life from the Kabbalah. You know, the two towers of Bina and Chokmah, and the route right up the middle, going from like Malkuth right up to Darth, and then Metatron in the top sphere of the Sephiroth, I think they're called. And I saw that pattern and I recognised it straight away. That was the pattern that I'd seen in the sky when I looked up through the roof of Glastonbury, of the St Michael's Tower on Glastonbury Thorn. And I realised it had been a revelation. And I was kicking myself then because it was after that first visit to Glastonbury Thorn that I started reading tarot. I decided I wanted to get some tarot cards. It just came to me, really. Friends of mine were reading them, but it just really appealed to me suddenly, very suddenly, to start reading the tarot, to take it seriously. And a lot of people I knew had hinted that I should find out more about the Kabbalah, and I'll just read the tarot book, I'll be alright, you know, young and stupid. And there it was, years later, in my angel book, the Tree of Life, and that was what I'd seen in the sky above Glastonbury Thorn, framed by the square top of St Michael's Tower. And I found out more about Glastonbury Thorn as I went on. Read some books about it. There's stuff online, you know, look it up. It's T-O-R, Thorn. Well, you can see it in the title of the video, no doubt. And it's said that in the days of Glastonbury Abbey, when it was active, and it's a ruin now, but when Glastonbury Abbey was active, it's said that the monks dug a tunnel from underneath Glastonbury Abbey to the base of the Thorn Hill, which is a massive hill. And apparently this tunnel runs under the Thorn to this day, but nobody knows where it is. It's hidden, so it's a mystery. But they sent something like 10 monks went down, and I think it was 10, might have been 20, I'm really not sure. Oh, we're bouncing on the track now. And only 3 of them came back. 2 of them had gone completely nuts and couldn't describe what they'd seen under the Thorn. Just couldn't get the words out, so no one found out. Just going to check my post, hang on a tick. It's between Christmas and New Year's, probably nothing there. No, not a sausage. But I'm waiting for a new mic, see? It'll make the sound a bit better on this here channel. But anyway, yeah, 3 monks came back out of the 10 or 20. 2 of them had gone so nuts they couldn't get the words out. And the 3rd one had gone Not sure if it was deaf and dumb or just dumb, but he wasn't able to speak. So no one ever found out the mystery of what goes on under Glastonbury Thorn. But it's an incredibly powerful place. Let me just bring this up a bit. Camera slips down because the track is so bouncy and bumpy, see? And the Joseph of Arimathea thing, that's, you know, what I really wanted to talk about today, as well as that amazing experience. When you start reading up about Glastonbury, you find out about the Glastonbury Thorn. And there are two, actually. In fact, I think there are more than that people claim are the Glastonbury Thorn. There's one on Weary All Hill, more about that later. But there's one outside Glastonbury, one outside the church next to Glastonbury Abbey in the main village. And it's in flower on Christmas Day. Thorn tree comes into flower on Christmas Day here in the Northern Hemisphere, where it's just too cold for anything to come into flower. And the legend is that Joseph of Arimathea, Jesus' uncle, came to Glastonbury, had a staff, you know, a big walking stick taller than him, planted his staff in the ground, and that apparently is what grew into the Glastonbury Thorn. There's also one on a hill facing the Tor, and you can see it very clearly from the Tor. And that's my favourite one. That's when I went looking at them, that's the one I got the most sort of powerful, strong, mystical rush off. And same thing, it flowers on Christmas Day, or it did. And legend has it that Joseph of Arimathea planted his staff there. Maybe he had two staffs. Maybe he broke it in half and planted both the halves, I don't know. But sadly, the last time I went to see that tree on Weary All Hill, that amazing magical thorn tree, people had been at it with chainsaws. I don't know if they were like fanatical Christians or just crazy vandals or something. Of course, there's a lot of hate against the mystical people who go to Glastonbury from people who think, you know, you should just go to church and don't, you know, dare do your own magic or anything. So it had all been cut down. And I'd actually just done Reiki 1 at the time. I visit Glastonbury occasionally. I haven't been this year because of the fungolitis that's going round. I got that from Vivian Tries. The fungolitis. So I haven't been this year, but I would go quite often, and just after I'd done my Reiki 1 initiation and attunement, I went there to the Tor, and this was when I saw the tree all cut down and chainsawed up. It was a horrible sight, you know, I felt so bad for it. We're home now, but I'm going to keep going. Let's just turn everything off. Anyway, it occurred to me to give this cut up thorn tree Reiki. I thought, well, it's going to need a lot more power than anything I've ever channeled to bring it back to life. And people had hung ribbons on it and, you know, gone there to try and heal it, obviously. And I thought, well, if I add my little bit of healing into the healing everyone else is giving this tree, maybe it'll help. So I went and, you know, I'm a tree hugger. I gave it a hug and sort of visualised channeling energy into it from the divine realms. And I got this amazing rush, really immense rush. And a voice in my head told me always to do healing that way, using this energy that had rushed into me from the stump of the Glastonbury Thorn. I believe it's growing back now. Luckily, people had preserved little tiny slips of wood and bits of root from it in case anything ever happened to it, if a storm blew it down or something. So they can actually regrow it, and this was a long time ago. I should imagine it's up and loud and proud again by now. But yeah, that really is the other most amazing thing that's happened to me in Glastonbury. I've met people there who've become the most amazing friends. Fantastic place, it really is. Anyway, on that note, back to reality, in a sort of, you know, as close to reality as I ever get. Hope you enjoyed that. As I say, it's a definite maybe, but it's interesting stuff, isn't it? Anyway, tarot time now. I'm going to use Tarot in Wonderland, like so, because it hasn't got anything like enough exercise over the festive season. So you're going to pick 3-card spread. You're going to pick card 1, card 2, card 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, or 2 and 3, or are you going to pick all three? It's entirely up to you. I know you don't know for sure, but your psychic self really knows, okay? So get tuned into that subconscious mind. What's it going to be? Okay, so card number 1, here it is. It's the King of Swords. Right, so I guess a lot of us will have been walking on eggshells around people the last few days. It is the season, 'tis the season, as they say. 'Tis the season to be jolly. It's also the season when a lot of people are very unjolly indeed. Actually, can't be helped. But walking on eggshells, well, the King of Swords, Humpty Dumpty kind of character we've got here. He hasn't actually fallen off the wall. He hasn't had that great fall yet, but he is hanging on to a dictionary. So he likes everything to be precise. He's a bit of a wordy person. So you're going to be able to find the right words to get round someone if you pick this card. Okay, swords, decisions, that kind of thing. Well, it's going to be a lot easier to be sure of where you're headed, sure of what you want to do, and sure of actually getting things done if you just take a bit of care over choosing the right words and just being careful of other people's feelings as we go forward with this. Now, a general reading this, because there's so many people watching now. I am grateful and delighted that so many people are watching. So I'm not going to say a whole lot more, but there's a clear blue sky over the wall here. So it's looking good. It's looking positive. Great things can actually happen because it's the King of Swords. It's very high up. Well, it's the highest one of the court cards. In fact, it's the highest card in the whole suit, unless you regard aces as being high. So what is card number 2? It's this one. Here we go. And it is the Knight of Swords. So we've got, another sword card. This is obviously a bit of a swordy reading. I don't know what's going to come up for the next one because I haven't looked at it yet. But more decisions to make. And in this case, it's all about where are you actually going and how fast do you want to go there? Because the Knight of Swords can really get you going there fast. He's a kind of a unicorn-headed character there. And so it's a unicorn riding a horse. So fast-moving magic, that's the bottom line. And how fast is your journey going to go? How far is it going to take you? Well, if you don't know yet and you're not ready yet, that is coolio, because this energy just keeps on going, but it will come round again. It all goes in cycles. So you decide how fast you want to go. You decide where you want to go. And if you're ready, get on your horse, as John Wayne probably said. I can't remember now, but get on your horse or get on your unicorn. Or get on your horse and visualise it being a unicorn. It's entirely up to you. The sky isn't quite so clear with this one, though, so do think carefully about it. We've got those slanted clouds, so maybe everything is not as it seems. It's up to you to decide. It really is. So much is in your hands. We look at the tarot, we look at all the forms of divination, hoping they're going to tell us what to do, particularly with the suit of swords. It's a make your mind up thing, and you've pretty much got to decide where you're going to go and what you're going to do. But there we are. Knight of Swords, a unicorn riding a horse. Go as fast as you want. It's in your hands. And that just leaves us with card number 3. What's on this one? It is the 10 of Wands, my friends. Now, we've got the guinea pig here. We've come away from the sword card energy, so this is a bit more like concrete advice that we've got here. We're going to kind of see the way to go. Well, maybe we don't even need to know the way to go. The guinea pig looks like he knows exactly what he's doing. So much so that he's not happy with it, and he just looks very unhappy, very kind of miserable guinea pig. And not surprising, really, because he's got those 10 wands tied onto his back. Not a very happy scenario, because he's got to push this cart as well. And it just looks like much too much work. There are good things in the cart. Looks like fruits and sweets and apples and stuff. I don't know, I just moved the camera, sorry about that. There we go, I think we're back to it there. But a beautiful scene. It's a shame to be unhappy in that beautiful scene. And if you picked this card, friends, or if you picked all 3, this is the outcome of it, then you really need to think about doing some cord cutting. That's going to be pretty important, actually, for you to get forward, because you don't need to be doing both these things at once. You've got to get these ones off your back, and these ones represent commitments that you've made in the past that is stuff that no longer serves you and probably doesn't serve the people or the person that you've actually committed to either. Could be a situation where, it's a lose-lose situation, really. It's People might still want your help, but you might become aware, or you might have recently become aware, that they'd actually be better off standing on their own 2 feet. So that might be cruel to be kind, or it might just work out, but you need to cut this cord that's around the guinea pig's waist here, because that's your waist if you pick number 3, okay, and let them go. Then it's so much easier to push this wheelbarrow of all good things forward to wherever it needs to go. And those good things, they're kind of for you really as well, you know. So if you want to enjoy the good things that we're seeing here, and if you just want to feel relaxed in this lovely green landscape with a lovely clear sky above, then cut the cord, you know, just get rid of what no longer serves you, what no longer suits you. There are all kinds of spiritual exercises you can do about that. More of those in a future video, no doubt. Actually, I'm always looking for ideas for future videos, and that's one that's just sprung to mind there. But yeah, cut the cord. So if we're taking this as a 3-card spread, what have we got? Card number 1, choose carefully. Be careful not to upset anyone. Get some advice if you need to, but you've got to make that decision. And then you've got to decide how far you want to go, how fast you want to go. But once you got past this one, it's all happening, okay? But it's not really going to happen unless you do the card 3 thing. Cut the ties with what no longer serves you. Cut the cord with the past. If you ever happen to accidentally cut a cord that you really could do with still having that cord in place, that cord will grow back as long as it's doing you good. That's the bottom line. That's where the guardian angels come into things, big style. Well, they come into everything, don't they? But that's really where they come in. If you cut that cord when you shouldn't, it'll grow back. They'll make sure of that. All good stuff. Right, well, that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Do hit that subscribe button, please, if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. We'll share the journey. And if you would like to buy me, or as it were, buy the channel, a coffee, check out my coffee page down there. Big thanks to everyone who sent me a coffee, actually. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone who's subscribed in recent times. You have lifted me over the 1,000 subscriber mark, but we need to keep on pushing. We need to keep on going and growing to get the word out, to make it all happen. So I will knock it on the head there. Thanks very much, folks. Take care of yourselves. Have a great time ahead. More readings coming up very soon. Meanwhile, love, light, blessings, and peace.